Hello, everybody. I hope you are doing fine. And today I'm with another important topic, and I hope you are ready. And I guess you are with a lot of enthusiasm and activeness. And let us talk about another important topic in creative writing. So, the topic which I'm going to focus on that is using imagination in creative writing. See, as I already told you in our previous classes, imagination is one of the important features uh, a creative writer should have, or maybe one should have who wants to excel in creative writing. That is one of the fundamental feature one should have in order to develop one's creative writing. So I'll be focusing on how to use imagination in creative writing and what are the types of imaginations are there in creative writing. Are you ready? Yeah, let us have a look at some of the important types of imaginations. Like when you talk about understanding creative writing, like it is very important to talk about eight types of imagination. What I mean to say, like in any type of creative writing, or maybe in creative writing, we usually makes use of eight types of imagination. Let us talk about one by one so that you will understand what are those eight types and how they work, and whether we can each one of the imaginations can work as an integrated one. Let us see in our previous classes. So before we talk about using imagination in creative writing, let me talk about like what is the significance of creative writing, or what is the significance of imagination in creative writing. The real engine of creative writing is the imagination. See, the word, the real engine, or maybe engine of creative writing is the imagination itself. See, suppose let us talk about one vehicle. Do you really think a vehicle runs without having an engine? I don't think so. I hope even you do agree with that statement. So, what I mean to say that I'm not talking about the vehicles and engines, but what I'm telling you that the importance of engine in a vehicle. Similarly, when you talk about creative writing, imagination is one of the greatest features one needs to develop or one has to be good at, so that you will be excelling in writing creative writing, like the ability to create new people from scratch, to put them into scenarios and to tell stories. And if you cannot imagine, you cannot write. It is as simple as that. Like if you want to be good at creative writing, you need to be good at imagination. It is the single most important thing for you to understand about your process of creative writing. And there are, as I already told you, that there are eight types of imagination. Let us talk about one by one. Suppose I'll broadly explain them according to the psychological model. For those of you who enjoy additional research, you can have a look for Hunter's types of imagination. She like wrote in 2012. Then I'll highlight how they might specifically apply writing in your work as a writer. And the more you understand your thought process, the more efficiently you can work. According to Murray, there are eight subsections of imagination. They are as follows: effective imagination, intellectual or constructive imagination, imaginative fantasy, empathy, strategic imagination, emotional imagination, dreams, and memory reconstructions. According to Murray, there are all these eight subsections of imaginations. Let me repeat all of them. Efficacious imagination, intellectual or constructive imagination, imaginative fantasy, empathy, strategic imagination, emotional imagination, dreams, and memory reconstructions. These are all eight important subsections of imaginations. It's important to note that there is some overlap between each of these types of imagination. They don't function entirely independently from each other, and many of them combine during the course of every day. As I already told you that it's very difficult, okay, or maybe sometimes we feel a bit difficult to use each subsection of imagination like differently, but they all work integratedly, or maybe we can use them like while writing a creative writing. We can club them rather. Okay, you can do that. Let me talk about what is efficacious imagination is all about. Effective imagination is to synthesize existing ideas together from existing information. Let me give you an example. If I were to offer you a penguin and dog pop sandwich, you probably don't have to try to know that you won't like it. You simply took the existing information, like the ingredients, and made a brand new construct that is sandwich. Let me give you another example. I know that most of you are quite familiar with the Hyderabad biryani and what are the ingredients okay, which require. If you start preparing with the same ingredients with the same biryani and which gives the same flavor and taste, I don't think there will be anything new. But if you come up with okay with a different variety by using the same ingredient, and that will definitely that is what a creative writing is all about. It is very important that you read. The more you read, the more information you have to draw on your imagination. When you are an avid reader, you are an avid imaginer. When you are an avid imaginer, then you are much better prepared to be a true story wrangler. It is as simple as that. And unless you are a good reader, you cannot become a great writer. So make sure that you read a lot. The second important types of imagination is intellectual imagination. The word intellectual itself suggests that okay, one needs to be good at knowledge. You are able to work from an existing plan or a definite idea and is guided towards a distinct purpose. Intellectual imagination is very conscious and deliberate process in creative writing. We want it to be absolutely right. In order to do this, we have to imagine, we have to research, and we have to create something spectacular consciously and with a lot of effort and care. Then the third important subsections of imagination in creative writing is imaginative fantasy. And I know that most of the creative writers are crazy to use these imaginative ideas. I hope even you are also good at that. This is when you are able to generate new ideas from scratch and can be guided or unguided. Lots of time spent as a writer is done on walking, and thinking, and daydreaming, and letting my brain go off in its own direction and return with things that I haven't been thought of yet. Anytime you walk into a library, just take a moment to stand and bathe in the collected imagination of humanity. Stories have been created in thousands of imaginative fantasies, the soul of creativity. So, this is what imaginative fantasy is all about. The next important types of imagination we have empathy. This is a capacity that human beings have to mentally detach from ourselves and experience what another person is experiencing from their point of view. Empathy allows us to take an imaginative stroll in someone else's shoes. Like if to be a good writer, I think you must be a great deal of empathy. Without empathetic imagination, working at a high level, all your characters will invariably sound like you. So, if you want to excel in creative writing, you need to be good at using empathy in your creative writing. And let me talk about another types of imagination, that is fifth one, strategic imagination. Strategic, the word strategic itself shows tells us that okay, we need to have a proper plan and goal. This is primarily concerned with without what could be done. It is the ability to spot opportunities and visualize what might happen if you are to take them. People who have an excellent strategic imagination will have a realistic understanding of their own skills and be able to spot opportunities to develop. If it helps you to give strategic imagination a catchy name, then you can call it as wisdom. And sixth types of imagination is emotional imagination. Emotion itself shows that okay, it's a feeling. It's concerned with manifesting emotional dispositions and extending them into scenarios. We need imagination to fuel our emotional status, to imagine the monsters, to feel fear, imagine the scenarios playing out in our lives, to make us feel anxious. As writers, we need to be aware of our emotions and the emotions of human beings more generally. We can create fear, sadness, and laughter in our creative writing, which will bring the attention from the audience and as well as the reader. And seventh types of imagination we have, that is dreams. I know that each one of us do have an experience, whether it is a bad or maybe a positive or negative, but definitely we'll have some dreams. There are an unconscious form of imagination that we do when we are asleep. Scientists are still deciding what these crazy little night visions are all about. But for those of us that dream, it can be a fun and sometimes scary way to access our imagination. Dreams are great for writers. Yeah, you need to be good. Obviously, you have to be good at dreaming or maybe imagining or inventing, so that that will definitely help you to excel in creative writing. As your unconscious mind often deals with conscious problems when you sleep, you may find that the answers to your scripting problems appear fully formed in the morning. So, dreams are very important to develop your creative writing. And last but not least, that is memory reconstruction. Memory itself is a word, okay, which tells us the stories of okay, all the thoughts. When we retrieve our memories of people, objects, and events, we use our imagination to regenerate the images. Memories are subconscious, stored bits of information dragged into our conscious brain, and our imagination often fills the gaps where memory hasn't been created or contained properly. We write conversations that we had, we write people that we have met. We read about relationships with real people and we give them different names. A lot of who we are and what we do goes into our writing. Memories made flesh for creative writing. This is what I wanted to talk about. Let me conclude like how important this using imagination in creative writing is all about. Imagination is a key to writing, as I already told you. It is the engine that drives creativity. Imagining is a key to human existence, not just for writers, but for all of us. We do it in our day to day life. Without an imagination, we cannot function emotionally. Our memories won't work, and we lack the capacity to travel forwards and backwards in time. The strength of our imagination may be what makes us unique as a species. This isn't something passive that happens. You have to take active steps on how to keep it running. So, I request and I recommend all the creative writers, I suggest rather, if you really want to excel in creative writing, and you need to be a good reader, and so that if you're a good reader, and you will become a good imaginator. So imagination is one of the important and significant features in excelling or maybe writing creative writing. Thank you. If you have any questions, any queries, you're most welcome. And if you can question in chat box if you want, and I will be very happy to attend to all your questions. Thank you so very much, and stay safe and stay healthy. Have a great time. Thank you.